Hi friends, Joss here. I want to talk to you about a really important mental processes as we head into the holiday season and give you a few tools and tips to help you navigate it. High level, we're going to be talking today about distortions. The reason why this matters is that distorted thinking is probably the number one way in which you are self-sabotaging unintentionally in your self-talk and or interpersonal talk internally through the holiday season. And I'm going to give you a few tools to help you essentially stop it in its tracks, give yourself the grace so that you can help move forward going forward, and then also help you with some new tools so that you can rewire your brain in the future and no longer struggle with this distorted thinking. So first and foremost, what is distorted thinking? Distorted thinking is thinking that is noisy or pulling us away from the truth of a situation. Typically it's an internal dialogue, and it's typically associated with critical or negative thoughts. How to identify if you have distorted thought processes? Anytime you ask yourself the question, is what I'm believing the full truth of a scenario? And the answer is no, you are likely engaging in distorted thought processes. So if you send out a text message and it's left unread, and then you're making assumptions about how or why that message is still out there, that is engaging in distorted thought processes. If you are at a dinner party and somebody gives a funny face and you're assuming that they're making that face because of something you did, that is distorted thinking. The truth of those two scenarios is that there is a message that's left unread and you don't know why, and that person made a face and you do not know why. So how do you get yourself from in your head and back into the present moment and into joy and happiness in a scenario through the holidays? First and foremost, proactively let yourself know that you built that distorted thinking or that habitual process over time. If you follow my channel or if you see my other content, what we talk a lot about is that the thoughts and behaviors that we have internally in our minds are truly thoughts and behaviors, the habits that we build. They're adaptive traits that have developed over the course of our entire lives, and that we can absolutely retrain those thoughts or those thought processes. So you are taking an incredible step by identifying the thought processes and then taking ownership for it in order to change it. So give yourself that credit, recognize where that's come from, and know that, again, you've only built that as an adaptive response to things that have happened in the past. So that typically means that you maybe have engaged in an interaction in the past where maybe you had a message that was left unread and you were rejected, or you had an encounter where somebody gave you a face and it was embarrassing and you felt awkward. And so now your protective, natural, adaptive behavior is to essentially preemptively create scenarios that will help your mind to rationalize what could be perceived as a threat. So again, give yourself that grace now that you've identified what's happening. Now let's move into action. In action, what we need to do is we need to start challenging the thought processes that are happening. So the best way to do this, and this is like the tried and true method, is get a piece of paper, literally write down all of those thoughts that are going through in your head, or ideally if you can do it on paper, right? But if you can't do it on paper, do it in your mind, make that full list. And it's important that you make the list complete. And the reason why it's important that you have the full list is that helps you understand better what is actually going on in your mental thought processes. Typically, you'll end up seeing a pattern with the thoughts that will tell you a little bit about why you created that adaptive process in the first place and help you, again, along this adaptive journey. But regardless, make the list, be honest with yourself. If you can't be honest with you, who are you going to be honest with? Once you've done this process, go through each and every item on the list and challenge that thought, right? Challenge, is that true? And challenge it with an example of how it could not be true. And the reason why you want to challenge it with that example is because it will give you a transferable example that your brain can reach into the next time that you have this situation pop up. And our brains are really plastic, but they like to have a little bit of support. They're very habitual as well. And so if you have a little bit of structure in there to help you build this new habit, it will really help you going forward. So again, if you are in the scenario where you saw somebody make an awkward face at you and you're making this assumption that it's about you, maybe you would go through it, you would write down, they made an awkward face and I believe it's about me because they looked directly at me when they made the face. And the challenge that you would put out there would be, maybe they were making that face in order to joke with me, to pull me into the joke because they felt uncomfortable, right? And so again, go through every single item and make sure you challenge those. Give yourself that transferable opportunity for the future. So the next time somebody makes a face at you, you might automatically say, oh yeah, they're just trying to pull me into this conversation, and allow me to have the joke with them, right? And once you've done that process and you've kind of eradicated any of those other possibilities and you're back grounded in the truth and the presence of the moment, again, you're going to find yourself much more joyful. You're not going to be worrying as much about all of those other reasons, and you're just going to be able to exist in a beautiful holiday season interaction. I hope this is very helpful for you. If you like this content or would like to see more content, there's a lot of information out there about distortions. I do highly recommend you do your own homework. There are incredible practitioners who this is their entire career. If you'd like us to make more content, we're happy to do so. But if not, regardless, we are so thankful that you are here with us at RAD-Self, and I hope that this resource was helpful for you as you navigate this beautiful season. Be your best and most beautiful self, and always be rad. Thanks. Bye now.